Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we got another news video here to discuss. We're looking at some signings that happened over the past couple of days, some injury updates, a couple of coaching moves, and we've also got some trade rumors involving the Ducks, Flyers, and Lightning. And we'll go to all that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the End-to-End Hockey channel. Now before we get into this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you all for your support and I'll be able to help you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below and don't forget to leave a comment down in the comments below discussing today's video. Now we're going to start today's video off by discussing 8 signings from over the past couple of days. Now when we last talked in our news video, we left off on April 15th. So today we're going to be getting from April 16th to April 19th, going over some of the signings that have happened over those past couple of days. So we're going to start here with the signings that happened over on April 16th first. The Montreal Canadiens in 2020 second round pick left winger Luke Tuch to a 2-year ELC with an AAV of $913,000 that begins at the start of next year. Now Tuch's actually been a really good player over the past couple of years. Last year had 9 goals, 20 points in 40 games over in the NCAA. This year had 10 goals and 30 points in 39 NCAA games. So he's been a fantastic point producer at the NCAA level. Looks like a pretty good prospect. Also got into 2 AHL games, putting up a -1 rating and no points. So he's looked pretty good, and I think it could eventually be a solid L6 forward for the Montreal Canadiens. So that's a pretty good pickup there for Montreal. Then we saw the New York Islanders signed 2019 6th round pick of the Minnesota Wild, Marshall Warren, who's a left-shot defenseman, to a 2-year ELC with the AAV of $825,000 that began at the start of next year. Now for Warren, he's been playing over in the NCAA over the past little while. Last year put up 5 goals and 14 points in 36 games. This year had 4 goals and 18 points in 41 NCAA games. So he's been looking fantastic over the past little while. Also got into 2 AHL games, putting up a +1 rating and no points. So Warren looks like a pretty good defensive prospect, and I think eventually could be a solid 6th, 7th defenseman at the NHL level. So that's very good stuff there for Warren. Going over to the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers signed Massimo Rizzo, who they acquired from the Carolina Hurricanes a while ago, a Hurricanes 2019 7th round pick, who's a center left winger, to a 2-year ELC with an AAV of $925,000 that began at the start of next year. He's also been playing in the NCAA. Last year had 17 goals and 46 points in 38 games. This year had 10 goals and 44 points in only 30 games. So it looks like a pretty good prospect to eventually be, I think, a solid, maybe bottom 6 forward. So that's a pretty good sign there for the Flyers. Then we also saw the Detroit Red Wings sign Shea Buham, who's a 2021 second round pick, left shot defenseman, to a 3-year ELC with AAV of $925,000 that began at the start of next year. Now Buham's also been playing really well over the NCAA, put up 4 goals and 21 points in 38 games last year, but also had 7 goals and 36 points in 43 games this year. Looks pretty good. Buham also got into 1 game of NHL action with the AHL Grand Rapids Griffins, which is the Red Wings AHL affiliates, and put up no points, so interesting stuff there. Then we also saw the Minnesota Wild, like we said in our last week's offseason game review video. Marc-Andre Fleury has been extended by the Minnesota Wild. He gets a 1-year contract extension with AAV of $2.5 million that will be for the rest of next year. Fleury has been a really good player. This seems to be his final season, so that's going to be an interesting one for Fleury. Last year had 2.85 GAA and a 908 save percentage in 46 games. This year had 2.98 GAA and an 895 save percentage in 40 games, so it didn't look overly great this year, and hopefully he can bounce back next year in a tandem with Gustafsson, so it'll be interesting to see about that. Then we also saw the Vancouver Canucks sign winger Vasily Podkolzin to a 2-year contract extension with an AAV of $1 million. That'll begin at the start of next year. Podkolzin has been a decent player. Last year in 28 AHL games put up 18 points and also had 4 goals and 7 points in 39 NHL games. This year had 15 goals and 28 points in 44 AHL games, and also had 2 assists in 19 NHL games. So looks like a pretty good player. I think eventually should be a solid middle 6 forward. So pretty good sign there for Canucks to get him under contract for just $1 million for the next 2 seasons, which I think is pretty good. Then we saw the Toronto Maple Leafs send one of the defensive prospects they acquired at the trade deadline. That's Cade Weber, who is a left shot defenseman, was a 4th round pick in 2019 of the Carolina Hurricanes. He signs a 2-year ELC with the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's for the rest of this year plus next year. Weber have been playing over in the NCAA over the past couple of years. Last year had a goal and 6 points in 40 games. This year had 6 assists and 6 points in 38 games. So it looks like a pretty good prospect. Has a lot of size too. I mean, I think could be a really good fit there on the 3rd pair long term for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's a pretty good pickup there for Toronto. And lastly, the Colorado Avalanche signed left shot defenseman 2021 second round pick Shane Behrens to a 3-year ELC with AAV of $95,000 that'll begin at the start of next year. Behrens has also been been doing pretty good over in the NCAA. Put 3 goals, 21 points in 31 games of NCAA action last year. Also has 4 goals and 31 points in 44 games of NCAA action this year. So looks like a pretty good player. Also had 1 game of AHL action so far, putting up an assist at the AHL level. So very good stuff there for Behrens. I think eventually should be a very good player for the Colorado Avalanche. Those are all the signs from over the past couple of days. Interesting to see some of those younger players like Tuch and Behrens and BUF all get ELC as well. Good thing to see Fleury and Podkolzin get extensions. Going over to a couple of injuries from the past couple of days. So back last week on Saturday, Calle Jarnkrok was cleared to play for Toronto Maple Leafs, which is fantastic news. But Jonathan Drouin has a lower body injury. Is out week to week and was ruled out for the Colorado Avalanche Winnipeg Jets series. So it's a really bad blow there for the Avalanche. Then on Sunday, we saw Vince Iorio, who had an upper body injury, is out day to day. So bad blow there for the Capitals. We did see Tyler Mott, Lou Glendening, and Anthony Cirelli all in Tampa, as well as OEL in Florida, get back in the game action. So very good stuff there for the Bolts and the Panthers. Then on Monday, we saw Jean-Gabriel Pageau in NYI. We saw Evander Kane in Edmonton. And then we also saw William Carrier in Vegas, Anthony Mantha in Vegas, Chandler Stevenson in Vegas, and Mark Stone in Vegas, all be cleared to play and get back in the game action. So very good stuff there for Vegas. Then on Tuesday, we saw Sam Bennett have a hand injury. He's going to be out for a period of time. Thatcher Demko's an undisclosed injury. He's going to be out for a day-to-day period of time. Timo Meier has a shoulder injury. He's out month to month right now, but the Devils are in the playoffs. He should hopefully be able to get back for training camp next year. Brett Pesce has a lower body injury, is out for another period of time, while Andrew Peeke has a finger injury and is out week-to-week period of time, so bad blow there for the Bruins. Well, yesterday we heard Thatcher Demko's knee injury be updated. He's going to be out week-to-week, most likely going to miss the first round of the series, so bad stuff there for the Canucks. Nick Hague has a lower body injury and is out day-to-day for the Golden Knights, and Brett Pesce's lower body injury has been updated to week-to-week status, so bad blow there for the Hurricanes, lose one of their top defensemen. So pretty bad injury updates there for some of these teams. Hopefully guys like Demko, Pesce, Hague, Bennett are not going to be able for an over long period of time. They're able to get back in the game action, but interesting to see guys like Mark Stone get back from injury, Pageau, Mantha, Stevenson, Carrier, Mott, Glendening. Good to see all those guys get back, and hopefully they're able to give their teams a boost in the playoffs. So interesting stuff there. Going over to a couple of coaching changes. First with the Buffalo Sabres. We never touched on this in our news video. We did touch on this a small bit in our offseason preview video, but last week after the Buffalo Sabres season ended, they fired head coach John Granto. So bad stuff there for Granto. He was just about to enter the first year of a 2-year contract extension. That's never going to happen now, so his contract extension is gone. Granato's actually been with the Sabres for quite some time. He was an assistant coach from 2019 and 2021. He was an interim head coach from March to June in 2021, and he's been head coach of the Buffalo Sabres from June 29th, 2021 to April 16th, 2024. So that was very fantastic stuff there for Granto. He was head coach for a couple of years in Buffalo. It looked like he was starting to get some good things out of Buffalo. The players really liked having Granto, but it just didn't seem like Granto was going to be that guy to take them to the next level. He also had assistant head coaching experience in St. Louis and Chicago prior to his time in Buffalo, so interesting stuff there. But Granto, who did have a 2-year extension in place, is now fired, so he's gone. Interesting stuff there. I'm a little bit surprised. I thought Granto might be kept around, but they do wind up moving on from him, so that's an interesting move there by the Buffalo Sabres. As less than the week after they fired Granto, I think the Granto firing was a pretty decent one. I think the Sabres did need some change behind the bench. I wasn't sure if they would fire Granto, given the fact he has been a pretty good coach for them, and the players do like him, but they do end up doing so. But I mean, less than a week after firing him, they bring in their new head coach, Lindy Ruff. Ruff was able to get the new job after being let go by the New Jersey Devils in season, so good to see Ruff get a new job. Now, Ruff has actually had coaching experience with the Buffalo Sabres. He started his coaching career as an assistant coach with the Panthers from 93 and 97. Then he was head coach of the Buffalo Sabres for nearly 16 years, from July 1997 to February 2013. So he was head coach of the Sabres for quite some time. Then he was also head coach of the Dallas Stars for 4 years, from 2013 and 2017. He was assistant coach with the Rangers from 17 to 20, and he had been head coach with the New Jersey Devils from July 9th, 2020 to March 4th, 2024. So he had a long tenure over the past couple of years in New Jersey. Looked like he was working really well with the younger guys, but the Devils really needed to go in a new direction, so they fired Ruff, and now he's back with the Buffalo Sabres. So is this the right move in my opinion for Buffalo? It could be. Ruff really worked real well with a younger team like New Jersey. I think he could work fantastic with a guy like Buffalo. Is he the guy who's going to get them over the hump and back into the playoffs? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. But Ruff really does get the best out of everyone, so hopefully if he can get the best out of guys like Thompson and Skinner and Tuch next next year, and if they can work around the edges, maybe the Sabres team is able to make the playoffs. So an interesting coaching move there for the Sabres as they let go of Don Granto and they bring in Lindy Ruff. And then we also saw another head coach be fired, and that's San Jose Sharks head coach David Quinn. Now, Quinn was brought in to be the San Jose Sharks as a coach during the rebuild. The coaching was not the problem this year in San Jose. It was the construction of their roster. This team was built to be a low-end team, which is why the Sharks got first overall pick. But yeah, so it was not an overly great thing for the Sharks, and they wound up firing head coach. So Quinn did have a contract for one more season, but that's now null and void. So interesting stuff there for Quinn. Now, Quinn did have a coaching experience before the Sharks. He was an assistant coach with the Avalanche from 2012 to 2013, and he was a head coach of the New York Rangers from 2018 to 2021. So he did have coaching experience. He was hired on July 21st, 2022, and has now been let go on April 24th, 2024. So interesting stuff there for the Sharks. So they're going to be needing a new head coach. There's a lot of really good head coaches such as Berube, McClellan, Woodcroft, amongst others. So there's a lot of interesting coaching names out there. So the Sharks should be able to find a really good head coach for their next head coaching position. But Quinn has been fired by the Sharks, and there's another guy who winds up being moved on from the Sharks coaching change. So interesting stuff there. But we did see two coaching changes. Sabres fired Don Granado, and they bring in Lindy Ruff as a new head coach. And then the Sharks also fired David Quinn. So some interesting coaching moves there from the past couple of days. And lastly, going over to a couple of quick trade rumors here from the past couple of days. First, with the Anaheim Ducks, there have been a couple of reports I've seen recently saying that the Ducks may actually be buyers this offseason. Now, they're not saying that they're going to break the bank to acquire some really big pieces, but there have been a couple of reports saying that the Ducks won't be overly opposed to adding a solid top 6 veteran forward or a top 4 defenseman. I think that's a really good move there for the Ducks that they're able to do so. Their forward group is really good, but it's also really young. They have guys like Vetrano, Killorn, Strome, who are some pretty good veterans on that team. But besides that, I don't really have a whole bunch of other guys. So adding a solid top 6, top 9 forward on the forward group, I think will be a really good piece. We'll look at free agency and try and get some big pieces like a Stamkos, Duchesne, Marchessault. So those could be some interesting names out there. If you look at the trade market, you could go after a guy like Andre Mangiapane. You could go after a couple of other big pieces, see if there's a couple of really big pieces available. So there's going to be a couple of interesting names in the offseason who are going to be available for trade. So we're going to have to wait and see exactly how that works and who's available. But I could definitely see the Ducks try and use at least a little bit of their assets to try and improve this team or try and go after some pieces in free agency. They also have a really young blue line with guys like Zellweger and Mintnyakov and other pieces on that defensive end too. So if they're able to get another veteran top 4 defenseman, I think that would be a fantastic piece of business for the Ducks. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what they go after, but there's a lot of talk out there that the Ducks will try and add on the forward group and on the defensive end, and if they're able to, they could try and make this team a little bit more competitive for next year. Maybe they don't make the playoffs next year, but at least make it a little more competitive. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Going over to the Philadelphia Flyers, I've seen a ton of recent reports saying that Daniel Briere said the Flyers are open for business, and they are willing to listen on just about anyone. So not too surprised on that. Flyers are a rebuilding team. I know they had a really good season this year, but I would expect them to move off a couple of pieces. There's been a lot of trade chatter around Atkinson over the past couple of days, week or two, that he could be moved. Atkinson has not fitting overly well with Philadelphia the past couple of years. I think there's a very likely chance he could end up being moved. I've even seen Joel Farabee's name be brought up. Could be a really intriguing one. Farabee had a pretty good season this year, so a really solid top 6 forward, signed to a longer term deal, which I think is at pretty fair value. So we'll have to wait and see exactly if Farabee gets moved, but those could be some interesting moves there for the Flyers to move Farabee, Atkinson. I do wonder about some other ones. Could they move a guy like Johansson? What about Laughton? So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens there, but I would definitely expect the Flyers to be very busy this year. I can definitely see them trying to add some pieces too, but I think they will consider moving pieces like Farabee, Atkinson, Laughton for sure. So we'll have to wait and see on the Flyers. And lastly here, going over to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Could this be the final playoffs with Steven Stamkos in a Tampa Bay Lightning jersey? Now, it seems pretty absurd to think about, but there have been a lot of people who I've seen talk about this who think that it seems like Stamkos might be entering the final year with Tampa Bay. It's quite possible. He is a really good player, but with the way that Tampa's not signed him at this point in time, and they've given out so many other really big long-term contracts, there's just a lot of people out there who think this might be to Stamkos leaving for free agency. It's quite possible. Now, if Stamkos were to hit free agency, who could go after him? I've seen some people say Nashville. He has friends from Tampa in there like McDonough, like Luke Shen. Nashville needs a top line center. They also have a lot of cap space to work with in the offseason, so could Nashville be an interested party? I've seen some people say Toronto, given the fact they had some interest last year. Don't know how they'll do that cap-wise, but I could definitely see them have some interest. I've seen some other people say Boston, given the fact that the Bruins need a top line center. Once again, not sure how they'll do it cap-wise, but I could definitely see them have some interest in Stamkos. I've seen some people say the new Utah franchise. They'd be looking to be spending a lot of money this year. They have money to work with. I think Stamkos could definitely be a really good fit there as like a top line center on a younger team, so I could see Stamkos go to Utah. There's probably a couple other places that could not only use Stamkos, but that Stamkos will be open to going to, so we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens there, but this sort of does feel like this could be the last playoff run for Stamkos in a Tampa Bay Lightning jersey, and in the offseason we may see Stamkos put on a different type of jersey, so we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens there. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on all of this down in the comment section below. What do you think about Stamkos? Does he resign? Is he able to remain a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning, or does he move on and go to a different team? What do you think about the Flyers? Could they be open for business? Could they move guys like Farabee, Atkinson, Laughton? What do you think about that? Do you think that the Ducks could add this offseason, trying to add a top 6 top 4 defenseman? I think it's a very likely possibility, trying to insulate the younger players with some more older talent, so I could definitely see that happen. And what do you think about these coaching changes in San Jose and Buffalo, plus the injury updates and the signing updates from the past couple days? Definitely, I'll figure your guys' thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. So I'm going to talk about for today, or inside this video. And if you'd like to subscribe down below, thank you for your support, and I'll be able to help you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section below, so it's all discussed in today's video. Also a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that, so check that out. I'll leave a link in the description below, and I can't wait to see you guys all for next video. See you guys soon.